Hi everyone, and welcome to day 6 of our Battle of the Poets project. Today I have for you a poet by the name of Louise Gluck. She is actually a current poet. She's still part of the poetry community. She's actually a writer in residence at Yale University, and she's been awarded numerous different honors. She was the Poet Laureate for the United States in the year 2003. She's also been awarded the Pulitzer Prize. She's a poet of great renown in the modern poetry scene, and her poems are modern. She does have definite modern sensibilities. She often writes in free verse. Her poems generally do not rhyme, and she does belong to the school of confessional poetry. Confessional poetry is marked by a belief that a poem is a vessel for the poet's emotions, and they're used as a tool to express those emotions. So lots of contemporary poets have written in this style. Most people often think of Sylvia Plath as being kind of one of the first confessional poets, but it's very common. Whenever you pick up modern poetry, there's usually some sort of a confessional influence to it. That being said, while Louise Gluck does write confessional poetry, she writes about things that are deeply personal. She tends to hide them behind some sort of a veil of either mythology or some kind of a metaphor. For instance, in her book, The Wild Iris, her poems are written from the perspective of plants in the garden and also the gardener. So she uses those metaphors to explore topics that are very personal and very human, but she does it in a way that creates a little bit of distance, which I think is really interesting. Her poems sometimes are described as a little bit bleak or even a little dark, but honestly, I don't see that so much with her. I think that her poems, while they are maybe a little bit dark, it's because she likes to tap into the things that are human, that we fear, that we feel, and so she kind of plays around with that a little bit in her poems. So today I have for you a poem from her book, The Wild Iris, and the poem is called Vespers. So if you don't come from a high church tradition, you might not be aware of this, but Vespers is actually the name of a service, a church service that's done in the evening. So she is going to be writing about not Vespers, but she's reflecting on her experience of God and religion in this poem. So that's something to be aware of as you're taking a look at it. So here's Vespers by Louise Gluck. In your extended absence, you permit me use of earth, anticipating some return on investment. I must report failure in my assignment, principally regarding the tomato plants. I think I should not be encouraged to grow tomatoes, or, if I am, you should withhold the heavy rains, the cold nights that come so often here, while other regions get 12 weeks of summer. All this belongs to you. On the other hand, I planted the seeds. I watched the first shoots like wings tearing the soil, and it was my heart, broken by the blight, the black spot so quickly multiplying in the rows. I doubt you have a heart in our understanding of that term. You who do not discriminate between the dead and the living, who are, in consequence, immune to foreshadowing, you may not know how much terror we bear. The spotted leaf, the red leaves of the maple falling. Even in August, in early darkness, I am responsible for these vines. So that was Louise Gluck's Vespers. So now we've reached the point where we have to vote. So go ahead and click the link and you can vote either for Louise Gluck's poem Vespers that we read today, or you can vote for yesterday's poem by E.E. Cummings. I look forward to seeing the results of this poll. I think it's going to be another close race, but I'm going to join you again tomorrow with a new poem and the results so we can see who moves on to round 2. I hope you have a great night, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow.